Today on the I Know Ball Network, me, Derrick, and Jordan will be ranking all 32 teams' wide receiver duos from 1 to 32 and putting them into a tier list. S tier through F tier, 1 through 32. Fellas, let's know ball.
First team that we're going to do is the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Ayuk and Jawan Jennings. Where do you guys have them?
I feel like to start this off, we have to just start them in C tier. Just so we can kind of work around it, and then I'm sure we might move them out. I know people are going to look at this and just see D tier, but there are a lot more teams out there with really bad duos, so I think we should just start them in C and then adjust as we go. Do you guys agree or disagree?
I agree. Just slap them in the middle for right now. We'll move them around as we need to.
They'll get moved, I'm sure. But, I mean, we always move people around.
We'll throw them in C for right now. That's our starting benchmark. Next team, we'll have the Chicago Bears with DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. Okay. Also, just so you guys know, when you're watching this is April 1st at 10:30-ish p.m. So if Keenan Allen signs somewhere that's terrible, like a Patriots, they're not here. No one's signed yet as of April 1st at 10:30 p.m.
So I think just to start it off, I mean, the Bears are worse than the Niners, right? So we put them one below them into D tier, and we'll move around from there.
It's close. It's close.
I was complete opposite here.
You think they're better than the Niners?
I think they're B tier. Yeah, I think they have a worse offensive line and a worse quarterback currently, but I think their receivers produce just as much, if not better. So I think DJ Moore is just as good as Brandon Ayuk.
But I think Jawan Jennings is way better than Rome Odunze right now.
That's where I agree with Derrick there.
You don't?
I don't.
Jawan Jennings balled out. I mean, Rome Odunze didn't really ball out at all.
I mean, listen, it gets into the argument of he also had Deebo Samuel there, and he also had George Kittle there, so there's a little bit more time for him to get left without people paying attention to him.
Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet too.
Yeah, they're not George Kittle and Deebo Samuel.
I agree with that.
Cole Kmet had a great year.
They're not exactly those guys, but that's a good offense around him.
I think they are better than Ayuk and Jennings as a duo, but I think if anything, I would go same tier.
Yeah.
I would go same tier then.
Okay, we can put them in the same tier now. Jordan, you think Niners duo better than Bears?
Yeah.
I do too. So right now we'll leave the Niners above the Bears in that C tier. Next, I don't think we're going to have a lot to talk about this team. We got the Bengals. I think we kind of know where they're going to be.
So we can just insta-lock them at S tier and number one overall. Nobody will be bypassing them. That's the best wide receiver duo in the NFL.
Highest paid too. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I agree with that one.
Highest paid, and their team has no money to support them in any other ways now. So
facts.
Now we got a team there. They kind of need a real number one. They don't really have a real number one. We got the Buffalo Bills with Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman. Mark Cooper didn't re-sign with them, so those are right now the number one and number two options at wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm going D here, big dog. D for dog.
Yeah, I mean, if you put them with any quarterback that isn't named Josh Allen, I mean, obviously
you wouldn't hear him all year.
Barring a Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, but you put them on any regular team that doesn't have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, they're probably going to do not a whole lot. I love them. I like watching the Bills, but Gabe Davis is a perfect example, yeah.
Next team, Broncos. We got Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims. Mims, home run hitter here. Cortland Sutton, definitely a top receiver in the NFL, but Mims is that it's a little farther down the line when it comes to best receivers in the NFL.
See, this is tough because, I immediately want to say D tier, but, I could see bottom of C.
I think we put them B tier above the Bills? Yeah, probably above the Bills, right?
Cortland Sutton's way better than any of those guys, and I don't think Marvin Mims is that far off from those
We'll put him above the Bills in D tier with a potential to move.
So you guys would take the Bears and the Niners 2 wide receivers over those 2?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Next, Dante and I are going to have to be a little unbiased here because there's going to be a lot of teams to where that number 2 wide receiver, a lot of people don't know a lot about them besides their fandom. And they're like, oh, bro, trust me, he's going to be nice.
Yeah.
We're going to say the same thing with this guy. We got Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman.
Listen,
Before Dante and I, or Dante, you go.
I was going to say, just to completely show non-bias, I really want to say F tier here. But it's hard to give a dude who was in the top 5 in receiving yards a F tier. I know his duo partner is getting downed every 5 seconds, and I'm reviving him and killing the whole team. But it's hard to put him in F tier when he's carrying.
Yeah, well, it's hard to. Are you taking Jeudy and Tillman over Shakir and Coleman? Yes.
Yeah,
Are you
I
taking
am.
Jeudy and Tillman over Sutton and Mims?
Yeah, I am. I am.
I don't know
That
if
one's
I am.
that one's a little
I've
closer.
always thought
but-
Jerry Jeudy was better than Cortland Sutton,
So I
even
think
when they were together.
I think that they're very close in terms of Jeudy versus Sutton. I think that Mims is a few steps ahead of Tillman.
I get that. I'm not gonna argue with you there. I think Jeudy is better than Sutton. Sutton's a one-trick pony. He's a poor man's George Pickens. Like when you
that.
guys were talking about trading for one of the Broncos receivers, I was like, why would you trade for Cortland Sutton? You already have that dude. Like he's a deep ball, jump ball guy.
See, I'm just going off what Steve Smith said, bro, and he said that Jerry Judy's
a Jag.
He's a jag, bro. He's just a guy. He said when
He-
teams call me
listen.
and ask if they should trade for you, I'm gonna tell them no. The Browns did not take his
Listen.
advice.
I do agree with you. Before this season, when he put himself in the top 5 in receiving yards, I would have said, yeah, he was a Jag.
Yeah, I think Jeudy panned out for what he was supposed to be. I think that Broncos system, for whatever reason, and the injury didn't help him over there.
We going
I
bottom of D.
We can go middle of D, above the Bills, behind Broncos.
Okay.
I would personally take him above Sutton, though.
That's
Me
where
too.
I like it. I think he might be a little bit better than Sutton. I don't think he's
I'll be
more
honest.
ahead of Sutton than
Mims is Tillman.
yes. Yeah. I don't know how
There's
to
a
like
wider
explain
gap
that.
between
Yeah.
Mims and Tillman than there is between Cortland and Jeudy.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I really don't think there is, but 'cause
See, there's your
statistically-
bias a
really-
little bit, I think.
Statistically, wide gap, no. Obviously, Mims had more targets. Also, Mims played more. Also, Mims is a deep threat guy. Cedric Tillman is not a deep threat guy. Mims is that home run hitter type of dude. Tillman isn't, but I would honestly, if I had to choose a player, I'm choosing Tillman over Mims, mainly because of the upside.
Mainly because
Well,
you're a Browns fan.
Tillman's a 6'3", 6'4" receiver.
6'4". Yeah.
I'm taking a
he's-
6'4" dude over 5'8" midget any day unless it's Tyreek Hill.
So for right now, Dante and I have them both over the Broncos. I don't think we would either have them over DJ Moore or Rome Odunze, though.
Okay.
So
I like
right
it.
now they'll be top of D. They're not even a C tier, I guess, right now. But of course, everyone can move up. We got yet to have an A or an S. Next, we got the Buccaneers with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He did resign. We're assuming just that it was a broken leg, broken ankle.
Broken ankle, I believe.
Broken bone. He'll be back quicker than any ligament tear or anything like that. So he's going to be fine.
This is
Now-
like a fringe AB here.
Think about it. Mike Evans is going to be older. Godwin
He'll get
also coming
1,000
off
yards.
some sort of injury. Is that going to matter? I don't know, but these guys aren't what they used to be. I will say that for sure.
Who do we have? Do we have somebody in the B tier right now?
Nope,
Nope.
just them.
Okay. I like putting them in B tier 4 right now. They may move up to the bottom of A tier, but I see
I
them
like
being
that.
a high B, low A.
Yeah,
So
I
take
like
them
that.
over the 49ers and Bears.
Yep.
Next team, Arizona Cardinals. You got Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson.
I think we got our first F here, boys.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison didn't really live up to his rookie hype. Coming
He did
out
not.
looked really. We'll say he had a piano on his back. Shout out, Josh Gordon on the Patriots and Seahawks. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I think this is it's close.
And
That
let's,
Bills
let's
might
not,
be an F
It's our
as well.
first F, but may become a D minus.
for sure.
That
And let's not get a
that
mistake.
Bills might be worse.
We're not saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't good, but his duo partner is
Michael.
dying the moment you land. Okay, and you're battling with a pistol. That's all I'm saying. The other
So-
team's got a couple ARs.
I mean, his partner has one more
didn't play bad.
touchdown and averages the same amount of yards as Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, but that's an air raid West Coast style offense. Kyler Murray's throwing the ball significantly more than Deshaun Watson was even capable of for the first 10 games of the season.
That's why I went off of averages, not total yards, though. He has more
No,
total
I get
yards,
that.
but I went averages based on that because they do throw the ball more. When a team throws the ball way more than the other, you have to look at averages because overall yards, obviously he's going to have more. They throw the ball more.
Bro, Deshaun had 200 yards in one game out of like the 8 or 9 he played. Like, I know people remember Jameis and stuff, but like Deshaun played last year a lot. Like, I think he played 8 games.
Was a lot. Our offense, we run a lot of curls or stops, comebacks, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, because he couldn't
shorter route. And our offense was not made for that. My main argument is I would still take that Cardinals over the Bills.
Ooh.
I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. over Shakir or Coleman. One, because of upside as well. I just think he's going to be a better receiver this coming year. Now, Michael Wilson, that's a little closer. That's what does bring him down a little bit.
I don't agree with you for the simple fact that, yes, the Cardinals with Marv have more of like that star power. They have the better of two players, but I think that the Bills wide receiver room is more well-rounded than the Cardinals wide receiver duo. I shouldn't say not room, but I think that their duo of Shakir and Coleman is better overall than the duo of Marv and Michael Wilson.
So I always think of if I have a team and I'm choosing a team and choosing two receivers, you're taking Shakir and Coleman over Harrison and Wilson?
Yeah, probably.
Hey, just for reference, Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson barely had more yards than Jerry Jeudy combined. Just for reference, just in case. Like, I know we weren't talking about the Browns there. We were talking about Shakir and the Bills. Like, I just want to let you know that, like, Jerry Jeudy almost had more yards than the two of them put together. Like, they had, like, I think 200 more yards, if that. Just for reference.
So we'll put them F for now. Next team, we got the Chargers. The way I did these wide receivers, number ones and number twos, I based it off ESPN depth chart for the most part. Until I saw this one. The Chargers had Ladd McConkey 1 and Mike Williams 2. And I said, sorry, Mike Williams, I'm going to take you out for Quentin Johnston. So that's going to be your 1-2 punch, Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston for the Chargers.
Mike Williams is their number 2, bro. They brought him back.
Fuck.
They brought him back.
Yeah, he was your number 2. He was your number 2 last year, too.
Yeah, him and 5 other people were all our number 2s.
I like Ladd. Ladd's really good.
Yep.
By the way, I did reiterate this numerous times, but my hot take of the year was Ladd McConkey was going to be the previous year's Puka Nacua, and I was not that far off.
Pretty close.
But Quentin Johnston sucks.
55 receptions, 711 yards, 8 touchdowns, average 13 per catch.
Imagine if he would have caught the 25 other balls that hit his hands and hit the ground. He would have had 1,000.
That's true. I
can't catch.
I think they're better. Who all do we have in the D tier right now?
Jeudy, Tillman, Sutton, Mims, Shakir, Coleman. I think they're better than all 3 of them, so I think they got to go at the bottom of C comfortably.
I will say,
that's what I was thinking.
You're taking the Bears over them?
Yeah, still.
I assume. Okay.
What are you thinking, Jordy?
That's close. I think those two teams, no matter which way we put them, have to end on this tier list next to each other.
Now, I will say, at least for DJ Moore, his average is 9.9 yards per catch. A lot of the reasoning being they run a lot of screens over there in Chicago, or at least they did last year. And DJ Moore was the main one getting those screens. And they didn't really go anywhere. So that definitely hurts your average over time throughout a whole season.
Yeah, Romadunze still had 734. I mean, he almost had Marv barely had more yards than him.
And he was the third receiver over there. You had Keenan over him.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not going to lie, Cole Kmet had a really good year. He was a receiving threat as well on that offense.
Yeah, I think McConkey and Johnson are in C. What are you thinking, Jordy? You said right by the Bears.
I think no matter if we put them one above the Bears or one below the Bears, at the end of this list, those two teams should be next to each other.
Okay. I like that.
All right. We'll move on. This one gets a little tricky for me. You guys can argue this one a little bit on who the number 2 could have been too. But according to ESPN, it was Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice for the Kansas City Chiefs. You want to say Hollywood Brown, but I mean, he really didn't play, injured and all that stuff. So those two played the most, even though Rashee got hurt, but they played the most, I guess.
Obviously, this is one that you can't look at the numbers on. Rashee Rice is a phenomenal wide receiver. We know that.
He is number 1.
He is I'm taking Rashee over Xavier, even though Xavier is listed as the number 1.
He's their number 1 receiver, even though Xavier is, because he had just played more last year.
By default, he was there.
Now, I know that obviously a torn ACL 10 years ago was like,
Matters.
you're in big trouble. Now it's a little bit better to recover from it. I feel like players bounce back a little better from a torn ACL, especially when they're young. They could be top of C tier for me. Top of C,
Ooh.
bottom
I think
of
it depends
B.
player for player.
I like bottom of B. I think they're B. Xavier Worthy really started to have a pretty good year towards the end of the year. And Rashee Rice, we've seen him for 2 years and what he can do. ACL injury, like you said, it's not what it was 10 years ago. Rashee Rice is young. It's not like he's 29, 30.
Yeah.
Tearing your ACL at 30 is not tearing your ACL at 23, 24.
No.
Depends per person. I will say that. I know that.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be it's going to differ between people. But I mean, Rashee Rice is quick, but I don't think his full reliability on being a wide receiver is his quickness. I mean, he ran decent routes. He got open and found the soft spot. So
yeah, he's 24 years old, bro. He'll be fine.
Kansas City's over Ayuk and Jennings.
Yes.
Yep.
Over Moore and Odunze?
Yep.
Comfortably.
Now you're going to take him over Evans and Godwin.
I think they're behind them. Mike Evans is really tilting the scale for me here, Jordy.
Yeah,
I'm taking Godwin over Worthy.
The only reason that I would consider putting the Chiefs above the Bucs is even though Chris Godwin didn't have any ligament that we remember, any ligament damage, I think it'll be harder for him to recover from his injury than it will Rashee Rice to recover from his.
I disagree completely.
Adrian Peterson came back in the same year from an ACL injury, and that was 10 years ago.
I know historically and medically it is way easier to come back from a broken bone than any ligament or tear like that.
Yeah, that's just when you factor in age and
he's 29. He ain't that old.
5 years older than Rashee Rice. I'm just saying, I think Rashee Rice long term has a better potential to be fully recovered from his injury than Chris Godwin does.
I would still put them behind the Bucs for right now.
It's very close. The injuries is what really is making it hard.
I think the ACL is worse than a broken ankle.
It's definitely worse, but long-term effect, Rashee Rice will be back to 100% before Chris Godwin will with his age. Chris Godwin may never reach 100% again. He's old.
ACL is definitely worse than broken ankle, Derrick. I agree with you there. But I think Rashee Rice and what he could do, like I think what we've seen from him, he was already surpassing Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, we're one or the other last year. Xavier, I would have taken Rashee Rice over Chris Godwin.
I know
even though he's having a good year.
We are hoping that he is gonna come back somewhat, the same.
He will.
We can definitely see ACL tears. Dude can never be the same again. When it's a broken ankle, you're gonna come back no problem. It's not like you're not gonna lose your speed or anything like that.
I don't like how little stock Derrick's putting into this broken ankle.
It's
Alex
like any
Smith
other
broke
broken
his leg.
bone.
Look what happened to him.
He came back and he was fine.
No, he was not fine. He was not fine.
Alex Smith was never a great. Alex Smith was never a great quarterback. His broken leg.
He came back and
jumped on his back.
He wasn't 50% to what he was when he came back. He wasn't good before. He didn't come back at 50% what he was before.
Broken bones, when they break and they heal, they become stronger. ACL tears, they don't come back stronger.
No, you just tear the other.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you just tear the other one.
Like, I know Odell was a little older. Odell, that ruined his career, basically. He could have had another good 2 years left.
He also had an ankle injury right before that, too.
And also a surgically reconstructed ACL has been proven to be stronger than the original ACL. I thought that I heard that. I had to Google it to make sure, and it is from multiple medical
well, I am curious because if someone tears their ACL, why the majority of the time they don't come back better or the same? Maybe the structure itself is stronger, but they lose their speed or they lose their quickness and things like that.
You lose that from just not being able to work out on that leg for so long. It's not from the injury itself. That's from the inability to continue working out and losing a step with that.
I mean, yeah, we saw that with Nick Chubb this year. I mean, he came back. This is his first year back and didn't look the same because he had that same injury basically.
Yeah, but he has had multiple though.
2 times, yeah, I guess you're right. But he was one of the ones that you guys could say he came back and was great. So, all right. Anyways,
we could use him as an argument for either.
Yeah,
he came back the first time and was good when he was young, and now he's old. Got fucked up, came back and sucked. Chris Godwin, old, fucked up, sucked.
He's old. It just happened again. When it happens again, it's not good.
I'm cool with putting them either way. Sorry, I completely took over that.
Put them right behind Evans and Godwin for now.
Okay. Then we'll move on. This one, Dontea and I talked about not statistically, depth chart wise. This guy's the number 2. We got the Colts with Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. Now, Alec Pierce, X and Z are both Pittman and Pierce. Who plays the slot most of the time? It is Josh Downs, so that's why number 1 and number 2, that's how it goes. You can argue Josh Downs. I don't think him and Alec Pierce are that far off because Alec Pierce averages, I don't have the thing in front of me, 22.1 yards per catch or something like that. He has more yards. I think he might almost have more yards than Michael Pittman on 30 less receptions.
Yeah,
I think
Alec Pierce has
C.
16 more yards on 32 less catches.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like,
Is Alec Pierce
insane.
And 4 more touchdowns and averages 10.6 more yards per catch.
I think this is a comfortable C.
We're gonna have to shake up the C tier a little bit. Some of them teams got to turn into B's and C or B's and D's.
Listen. We got a lot of teams left, Jordy. Don't worry.
Oh yeah,
we got some D's and F's coming. Don't worry.
And we got some S's too.
I think they should be at the very bottom of C, borderline top of D.
You taking Pittman and Pierce over Judy and Tillman?
Yeah.
Are you taking them over McConkey and Johnston?
No.
So they're between that bottom C, top of D.
Yeah.
And I think they're.
Jordan, what do you think?
I think they're closer to McConkey and Johnston than they are
Judy and Tillman.
Yeah, Judy and Tillman.
Okay.
So I'm cool with bottom of C.
Okay, we'll put him bottom of C. Next team, we're going to have to guess on this number 2 wide receiver and what he's going to do. We got Scary Terry and Deebo Samuel with the Washington Commanders.
Can I go first? And I won't go first anymore.
Go ahead.
People aren't going to like this. That's why I want to go first. It's an A. Jaden Daniels revived Terry McLaurin's career. We dubbed him as dead because he's never had a good quarterback. And then we seen what he did with a good quarterback, and he showed that he's a bona fide star. Say what you want about Deebo Samuel. We have seen what he can do. He drops some passes. He gains some weight. But you know who also did that before? James Harden. And look at him. Right?
He dropped the most passes in the NFL since 2016.
No doubt.
Percentage-wise. Not even total, percentage-wise.
But listen, in Washington's offense, with all the trickery, with the read options, with the screen passes, they torched the Detroit Lions in the playoffs. One of the better defenses, even though they were hurt, with that trickery of offense. Deebo Samuel is going to be a Swiss Army knife for them. He's going to lose some weight, and people are going to be like, oh, shit, maybe this dude actually is good. A change of scenery, don't underestimate what that does for people. I'm a big, you guys know I always talk about changes of scenery. Big fan of it.
His ability to do everything you were saying, like Swiss Army knife, he can run the ball, catch the ball. Shit, let him pass the ball too while you're at it. Why not? I think that does help him a lot. I did not like that you said he revived McLaurin's career. McLaurin's had 1,000 yards the past 6 years, including this year, 5 years previous to that. And he only had 94 more yards this season. He did have 9 more touchdowns this year than he did last year. But touchdowns are a team stat. They weren't scoring a lot last year. I think that Terry McLaurin was still a dog last year.
You know why I said he revived his career, though? It's because nobody cares when you have 1,000 yards when your team sucks. When you're winning 4 games, when was the last time you heard Terry McLaurin's name before this year?
I'm an outlier on this subject because I had him in fantasy 2 years ago and 3 years ago.
And he's an Ohio State fan, so.
I don't, I know his production's been virtually the same, but nobody has mentioned a word about Terry McLaurin when he had Taylor Heineke and when he had those dudes. Like, now that he has Jaden Daniels, like, he's back to being a household name, even though his stats are exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just because the team's winning and they're relevant now.
I feel like the way that you said it made it seem like, oh, Terry had a shitty last couple of years and Jaden Daniels.
No, he revived his career. But you could still be playing good but be irrelevant.
Like Michael Pittman the past couple of years. Who cares about Michael Pittman?
He made him
a really good quarterback. He could have been balling, you know what I mean?
He made him more. He brought him back to popularity more than he revived his career. His career has still been very well and alive.
When you're a musician and you're not popular, your career needs revived when you become more popular. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if you're a musician that isn't a household name still getting platinum records.
Nobody cares or nobody knows about it.
You're taking them above Bucks, Evans, and Godwin.
Yep.
Jordan?
I am.
Okay. So we'll put him as the reference for A then, if you're putting him above them, because they're at the top of B. We'll move on to another team to where I had to make sure this guy was the number 2 because I never really paid attention to who the real number 2 was.
Yeah, they don't have nobody.
For the Cowboys.
It was probably Brandon Cooks last year.
Bro, Turpin went to the the USFL.
Who did?
Keontae Turpin, the other dude that they had as a receiver and a returner.
Well, he just re-signed Cowboys. Didn't he just get paid with the Cowboys? Pretty sure he just got paid.
I'm pretty sure I just seen him returning kicks in the USFL this weekend.
I would say check that, Jordan. I thought he got paid because of his kickoff return stuff that he was doing. But the Cowboys, you got CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Tolbert.
Derek's right.
And who's that in the XFL? Or I keep saying XFL, USFL.
Maybe another Turpin, his brother.
He was in the USFL previous to being on the Cowboys, but this was like 3 years ago. He was in the USFL.
He's watching a replay of 3 years ago.
I probably was. The season just started, so they might have showed a game from when it first came on.
So where would you have CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Tolbert for the Cowboys? Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, top 3, top 4 receiver. You can argue it wherever you want him at. Jalen Tolbert, not in the top 32. Kind of drops off that 1-2 punch.
Right now, I'm thinking they're somewhere in the C tier. It's just a matter of finding out where.
I would put them B just for the fact of CeeDee Lamb. I don't think if I'm starting a team, CeeDee Lamb is that great to where that number 2 can almost be, I don't want to say anyone, but I'm definitely taking over Brandon Ayuk and Juwan Jennings.
So you know
because
how
CeeDee Lamb is that much better.
So you know how I've been referencing duos this whole time?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how you're in a random duos game and you go to like party up with the dude and then he just leaves and all of a sudden you're in a solo duos match?
It's CeeDee Lamb solo.
Here's what I'll say.
He's in a solo duo right now.
Here's what I'll say to counter that is I've seen dudes win in solo squad games. So
100%.
Hey, Jalen Tolbert had more touchdowns than CeeDee Lamb, and he also had 610 receiving yards, 12.4 yards per catch as well. He wasn't a bum.
Put him in C. I ain't gonna argue with you. Put him in C.
Derek's trying to.
Where do you have him, Jordan?
I was thinking top of C.
I think they're better
not
than
with Worthy and Rice and
I think
Godwin
it's close
and
with Worthy and Rice
No.
because I think CeeDee Lamb is that good. All right, we'll put him top of C for now. We'll come back to it. We got a lot more teams to go through right now.
You think they're better than Ayuk and Jennings as a duo?
I'm taking, because I think, yes, because if I'm choosing
I know
a team,
where you're
I'm
trying to say.
taking
You're trying
CeeDee
to put them in fucking S tier. I know where you're trying to go. I'm asking Dontea.
No, I'm not putting him above Ayuk and Jennings because, like, listen, it's so hard not being a prisoner of the moment and just looking at like 1 year ago. Like, you got to look at like multiple things. Like, Brandon Ayuk had 1,342 yards before he got hurt. Like, CeeDee Lamb is better than him, but he had 1,300 yards with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. Like, he still managed to get 1,300 yards with that group of guys.
But the same argument back, you said with Juwan Jennings, the reason that he got so many yards is because of the guys around him.
Yeah.
I think that argument can be used for
both sides. I'm talking about the
Brandon
number
Ayuk
2
before.
guy as opposed to the number 5 guy.
Brandon Ayuk wasn't the number 2 when they had all them guys. Not when they had all them guys. No, he wasn't.
He was He had 1,300 yards. He has to be the number 2. George Kittle didn't have more yards than that. He had more yards than Deebo.
Yeah, that's your 1 and 2 that teams are locking down is George Kittle and Deebo. That's why.
It's Christian McCaffrey, and then it's Ayuk. Ayuk is the number 1 receiver, the number 2 option.
I disagree. 2 years ago when he had a crazy year, I disagree. I think he was Juwan Jennings in that offense. How Juwan Jennings was this past season, I think that's what Brandon Ayuk was 2 years ago. And he just fed off of the fact that they had
600 yards 2 years ago. Are you kidding me? 600.
He fed off of the fact he fed off every team's corner 1 was on Deebo Samuel. When they played
Deebo played 12 games.
When Deebo was on the field, every team CB1 was on Deebo. They weren't guarding Ayuk. Every team CB1 was on Deebo.
Don't you guys want them in like middle of C? And aren't both you guys wanting them in middle of C right now, the Cowboys?
I was just trying to see where Dontea was.
I'm just saying, don't look at like Ayuk's like last year where he got hurt and it was a really bad situation. Ayuk was really fucking good. for consecutive years before that.
And CeeDee Lamb was way better.
He was. But yardage and statistics wise, he was not way better. Eye test, he's way better. But if you're going to bring numbers into it, like you printed out a sheet full of statistics, we got to look at them. We have
You
to.
can look at them. You can look at them. You don't have to take them into account. They're just for your reference.
We don't have to take them into account.
But I'm
fine. I'm putting them in F because Tolbert sucks. I don't care about his 600 yards.
all right. Sure.
I'm using the eye test. He's a bum.
Well, that
Name
makes no
one
sense.
play from him last season.
End around touchdown.
That was Turpin.
That was him actually.
Put him in
I
B,
mean,
sure. Put him in B.
No.
Put him
where
top
do
of
you
C.
want him?
Yes, I do.
You think
As-
they're worse than the Bears?
As a collective, I think they're worse than the Niners, better than the Bears.
You think they're worse than the Niners also?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're better than the Bears.
Listen, I guarantee with this next group, you're going to forget about last season and you're going to remember everything else.
I'm not taking Brandon Ayuk's last season into account. I know who Brandon Ayuk is.
Sure,
I'm
you
just
do.
saying. CeeDee Lamb's
I want to see what you say. I want to see what you say when you say next up, Tyreek Hill, who had
I will say.
a freaking.
I wanted
season.
Niners in B tier. First off,
I want to
just
know. I
saying.
want to know where you're putting Hill and Waddle.
S tier.
Hey, I'm doing A for right now.
I was thinking B, but
I would go A. Obviously, quarterback situation didn't help them very much. I think S tier should be a very max 3 to 4 duos.
I think there's
don't
five.
there
I think
should be
there's
like
5
or
teams.
6.
I think there's 5 teams in the S tier.
I don't think there should be that many in the S. I think S is just like levels
I think
above
that,
everybody
like,
else.
so I
like
think-
a Vikings, Bengals.
I think that S,
Lions.
realistically, I think there should be one above S. That's the Bengals, just called Bengals, and then
Just the
S
Bengals.
should be 4 teams, and then A, B, C, D. The Bengals are far and beyond better than every duo in the NFL.
But with the Dolphins,
Put 'em in A.
first thing that hit your mind, where you got them?
B.
Top of A.
I thought top of A as well.
I think they're
Why,
above the.
why would you have them B?
Tyreek's getting old, bro.
Man,
He's getting old, man.
No, their quarterback situation didn't help them at all. I think as a duo they are an A. I was just fucking around.
Okay. We'll put them top of A. That's where I would have them. Dante said that as well.
bro, Tyreek had 1,800 yards the year before. Holy shit!
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
yeah. I do
And they
think
had
I do
17
think
10
that
the year before that.
the one thing I will say is I do think Jalen Waddle kind of took a little bit of a step down this year. Obviously, quarterback play didn't help him,
Quarterback.
but I don't think that he himself performed as well, even when the better of their quarterbacks was there.
I mean, he was banged up a lot. Like I know he played 15
played
games, but he
through
was
it.
in and out of a lot of games though.
Yeah, he played through it, but
But I get what you mean though. He definitely underperformed by his last
Regressed.
3 year standards.
like maybe an overall or two, if we're talking.
He had
Madden terms.
1,000, 1,300, 1,000, and then 700. So I can't
Yeah,
help but
if he didn't have Tyler Huntley and whoever else might have been throwing him the ball.
right.
Like when Tyler Huntley first played that first game for the Dolphins, I think it was a primetime game. I felt like he passed 5 times the whole game. That's what it felt like because
That's a fact.
they had no chemistry at all. They just tried to do a bunch of end arounds and a bunch of speedy run plays. Didn't work out. Next team, probably not a lot of talk on this one as well. We got the Eagles. We got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
So for right now, I think they are S tier.
They'll
Not
be right 2 for right now.
Yeah. Yep. They are not the Bengals. Like I said, add another tier, bro. Just make a Bengals tier and then an S tier. They'll be the top for
Alright.
right now, the top of S tier. But
For everyone watching, pretend that's a tier. For the way I'm screen recording it, I can't do it, but yes,
you can hit the little plus button
imagine. So they're second. No argument there.
for right now.
Yeah, that's like
for right now.
This one's going to be an interesting one. Falcons with Drake London and Darnell Mooney. Mooney's nice.
B. Think they're in the bottom of B.
Mooney's nice.
Mooney is nice. And I think
Lodge,
Drake London is very good.
Ray McLeod.
Me and D-Bake literally got into an argument because he tried to tell me Cortland Sutton was better than Drake London.
Yeah, that
I
ain't real.
smacked him in his face when he said that.
So you're taking Worthy and Rice over London and Mooney?
Did I say
I'm
that?
taking. Yeah, you said bottom of B.
Did I say bottom of B?
Pretty sure.
Jordy, rewind the tape real quick. You Yeah, I'm taking Worthy
Right.
and Rice over London and Mooney.
I'm not. Jordan, you decide that one. I'm taking injury into account here. I'm a big proponent on I can't trust ACLs.
Bro, he's going to come back and have over 1,000 yards next year.
1,000 yards ain't that much anymore.
Oh,
It's
so
not.
for the
Do
dudes
you
who are
think
getting
it is?
600, so for the dudes getting 600 as number twos, then they suck. Like Tolbert.
Tolbert would have been a number 3 because you had Brandon Cooks that was there too. So you got to think there's other like Rome Odunze played good because he was a number 3 and
Hey,
he got those
fun
reps.
fact: Drake London's left-handed.
All right, and a basketball player.
In my opinion, the way
Dang, Darnell Mooney had 1,000 yards almost.
the way I'm looking at it is if you swapped what teams they were on, who would perform better? I think that Drake
The
London
Falcons.
and Darnell Mooney would be better with Pat Mahomes than Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are.
That's how. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, at that point, you might as well put him above Evans and Godwin. Then, realistically,
I wouldn't mind that. It's close too.
I think
that's
one's
close as well.
I think that one's very close. That one's very, I think, debatable as well. I think that you could
And think about this.
absolutely make
they
an
had bad
argument.
quarterback play. Baker was better than Kirk Cousins all year. They had a better running back. And realistically, Drake London was a top 5 receiver in receiving yards. Darnell Mooney had 992. So London had more than Evans. Obviously, Godwin got hurt, but Darnell Mooney had a damn good season. So I think realistically, London and Mooney are at the top of B.
I think that they very well could be.
I would like them there.
I would like
We
them.
all agreement on there.
So, okay, to
Nope.
go back to adjusting our B here now, you see how easily
Yeah.
we put Drake London and Darnell Mooney above Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, but it took us a little bit with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. So does that mean Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are closer to Darnell Mooney for us, Darnell Mooney and Drake London for us than Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are?
Low key.
In Jordan's scenario, I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin would be better than Worthy and Rice on the Chiefs. In my head,
It's just so
granted
hard. because
they have a
both
lot
got hurt.
more.
They both got hurt. That's why we're struggling with those two.
Yeah.
If Godwin and
Whatever.
Rice would have played a full
Yeah.
season, I don't think we would be going back to it. That's why.
My
both had
logic is it took us
season
5 seconds to all agree that they're above Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and it took us a minute and a half to figure out if they're better than Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice.
Like you guys, I wanted to say I thought they were way better than them, but not way better. But I think they were the top B.
Leave it there. Next up, we have Malik Neighbors, the new up-and-coming star, and Wan'Dale Robinson, a guy that I randomly insert into my fantasy lineup often. And I'm going to be honest,
hype them up on previous TikTok.
I think they're in C, and I think they are right below Lamb and Tolbert. Realistically, I want them above them, but I know Derrick's going to have a problem with it.
So if you okay, I mean that one's not as bad because I assume you're projecting Neighbors to be better than what he was.
Neighbors was like that.
No,
Neighbors
I
was
know.
like
I'm just
that
saying
last
you're
year.
projecting. So
He was
him
like
and
that
CD,
with-
you're assuming him and
Ru-
CD are going to be right here next year.
With Russ and Jameis Winston, yeah, 2 dudes who go air that thing out. I
Okay.
think he will be like that.
I'm not in total disagreement about that.
I also agree. I was going to say Malik Neighbors was a problem with terrible quarterback play. Now, I mean, I'm not saying Russ is
Yeah.
great, but he has a deep ball threat and a guy that'll put the ball on him when he wants it. Same thing with
Mhm.
Jameis. Jameis ain't scared to air it out.
Yeah, Jared Judy had 1,200 yards.
Yeah, I think Neighbors could put up 15, 16
15.
next year.
Facts.
So if you're choosing, I always pretend like it's my team and I get to choose 2 wide receivers. You're taking Neighbors and Robinson over Lamb and Tolbert.
I mean, Lamb is better than Neighbors.
Think of it as for one season, not like what you're projecting for their career. You know what I mean?
Wan'Dale Robinson was not bad. Tolbert, I don't. Yeah, give me CD and Tolbert for now.
Wan'Dale averaged 7.5 yards per catch.
Bro, you got to factor in quarterback play too, though.
Okay. Were they
Cooper
the
Rush
worst?
is better than anybody they had.
Were they the worst quarterback duo, you think? Or do you think the Tennessee Titans
No, the
quarterback
Tennessee Titans.
situation was?
The thing is, the Tennessee Titans quarterbacks suck, but it's all about willingness to throw the football.
They were
Like,
Mason Rudolph and Will Levis were airing that bitch out.
they'll throw the ball. Like, Daniel Jones was on his back half the time. Then they had a host of guys coming in after that. They had Drew Lock. They had Tommy DeVito. Didn't Tyrod play a game too?
Yeah.
At least
think so.
Tolbert and them just had
Two.
Dak and Cooper Rush. And Cooper Rush ain't great, but he's been in NFL games plenty of times before. Shit, he probably got damn near as many starts as Daniel Jones.
I'd still take the Cowboys over them, but you guys decide that one.
Go ahead, put the Cowboys over him.
Then we'll move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hmm.
A rookie receiver that was amazing as well. Brian Thomas Jr. and his number 2, Gabe Davis.
Boo.
D.
They're bad. I actually don't think that they're that bad. Brian
don't
Thomas
think
had
they're D?
1,200. Gabe Davis sucked. But that wasn't.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Gabe Davis was not very
But here's the thing, too. He was not their number 2 last year.
Christian
Kirk was their
Christian
number 2.
Kirk got
last year.
hurt too.
But he was their number
Christian
2 up
was
until
nine.
getting injured. I mean, who was their number 2 in receiving yards last year? Was it Gabe Davis? With
How many yards did he have?
I assume
239?
tight end might have had a little more.
Christian Kirk
I hate
had
that.
379.
And that's like, and then it jumps up to Brian Thomas at 1,200.
I mean, there might be another random in there that might have because I mean, Christian Kirk only played 8 games.
Yeah, that
I'm looking it up as you guys discuss right now.
I think they are actually the same exact duo as the Browns duo. I think they are Judy and Tillman. You had one dude who had a really good season, and then you had a dude who was kind of just there. Judy and Brian Thomas had pretty similar seasons.
yeah. Now, obviously, not trying to put biases in there or anything like that. I would put the Jags one spot above the Browns just because we have seen Gabe Davis have good years. Even if he didn't last year, we've seen his potential of being very good, and we haven't seen Cedric Tillman do what
If
Gabe
it makes
Davis
you feel
has done.
better, I had the Jags ranked 25th and I had the Browns ranked 30th.
I will say Gabe Davis was 7th on the team in receiving yards last year.
Who was their number 2 in receiving yards? Evan Ingram.
Brenton Strange. No, Brenton Strange, a tight end.
Oh, the tight end.
Was and then Parker Washington, wide receiver, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, Gabe Davis.
Jesus criminy.
No one over 500 yards besides Brian Thomas.
So I know
Strange had 411.
this list is only wide receivers. Obviously, me and Dontea talked about how much the list would be changed if you included tight ends. But obviously, their number 2 option was their tight end last year. So that's kind of why Gabe Davis is down there for receiver.
I would take the Browns over them because I don't think Gabe Davis is that good, in my opinion. I think Brian Thomas or Jerry Jeudy, I'm not mad whoever you go between those two. I think Gabe's absolutely booty cheeks. I think he just made his career off of Josh Allen and getting just lucky deep balls.
How many times is it counted as luck, though? Luck is like
A lot.
1 or 2, I think.
I think a lot because I mean you watched Steelers Bills a lot of the time. It would just be mishaps on defense. Gabe Davis is just wide open, just running a straight line. He did not run
I
it
watched
again.
Gabe Davis hoe Minka once.
All right, well,
I want them over the Browns. Gabe Davis has done more in his career than Cedric Tillman. He's proven to be a better receiver throughout his career. So
Overruled, Derrick. I'm putting them above the Browns. Overruled.
someone did more last year.
well,
The
You're
Cowboys
taking him
are-
above.
yeah, he did more last year, and Gabe Davis was receiver 17 on the fucking Jaguars, and Trevor Lawrence sucked.
Dan Tillman didn't play that much either, and he did more. Anyways, you taking him over Pittman and Pierce?
No.
So you put him top of D.
For right now, yeah.
I take Browns, but it's all right. Jets, you got Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard.
I might not like this one. Bottom of B.
Ayuk and Jennings better than them or no?
No.
You were hyping Ayuk all that. Look what he did the past couple years too. More than what
No.
Wilson did.
Look at Garrett Wilson. Once again, hold on. He has had Brock Purdy before Aaron Rodgers. Who did Garrett Wilson have?
Zach Wilson that wasn't scared to sling that thing either.
Zach Wilson stunk, bro. Stop playing. It don't matter if you're afraid to sling it. When the other team's catching it 50% of the time, or it's in the dirt, the other 25%.
All right, you can't make that argument for Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, but can't make it for Zach Wilson.
Will Levis is better than Zach Wilson.
If he is, not by much.
Listen, I think Garrett Wilson is probably right on the level, if not maybe better than Brandon Ayuk. Numerically, he might not be there. That's because of offensive scheme. That's because of quarterback. Offensively, the Niners have been absolutely stacked. They've been the number one
Lazard and
offense.
Jennings?
So listen, prior to last year, because he wasn't number 3, we've seen Lazard have some good seasons with A-Rod. He wasn't the number 2 last year, though. He was the number 2 when he was with A-Rod, when he had Devontae.
Juwan Jennings
Jordy,
balled out.
I know you're looking at numbers.
I do agree Garrett Wilson's better than Ayuk or Jennings, but I think the 1-2 punch of Ayuk and Jennings is better than Wilson and Lazard.
I mean, Alan Lazard's numbers aren't crazy. He's just like a 500-600 dude. Go ahead, Jordy. You're the deciding factor. Where's he going?
Something. I don't know what he's thinking, but he has the face that he's like, they're not going to like this.
No, he has the face of, damn, I really don't know where I want him to go.
A little bit of both. I do not think that the duo of Wilson and Lazard is very good. I think Garrett Wilson is an incredible receiver. I don't think that duo is a great duo. I wouldn't be opposed to having them somewhere in C tier, to be honest.
That's fine. I mean, if you're saying they're not better than Ayuk and Jennings, then they have to go in C tier. I think they're above.
Who right now is the top of our C tier? I don't have the list in front of me.
Niners, Cowboys, Giants, Bears, Chargers, Colts in mine.
I might get some hate for this. I'm not big on Alan Lazard. I wouldn't mind putting them below Neighbors and Robinson. That's my opinion. I'm not big on Lazard, though. I think Lazard's getting old. I don't think he's as great as he once was. He was never great, but I don't think he's nearly as good as he once was. And I think that Malik Neighbors is better than Garrett Wilson. I think, obviously, that CeeDee Lamb is better than Garrett Wilson.
And I'm going to take Tolbert over Lazard.
Tolbert and Lazard, I think, is close, which is making me be like, all right,
fucking sucks, bro. The fact that he's even on this list irritates me, bro.
Lazard sucks. In my opinion, I like the Jets below the Giants.
I'm not in disagreement. What do you think about the Niners moving up to bottom of B?
I mean, if they're they're the top of the C and they're going to go to the bottom of B, if it helps you clean up the C tier, put them in bottom of B.
Yeah, because we'd have 7 in C tier right now if we do that.
Put them in the bottom of B for right now. They might end up getting moved back down. I mean, that was the first team we ranked. We put them in C with the anticipation of moving them.
Currently, Dontea, Niners moved to bottom of B tier. So they didn't move spots, but they're just in the B tier now.
They're in the bottom of B, but they didn't move spots.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah.
They went from top of C to bottom of B.
And it looks better.
Just cleans up
from a C+ to a B-.
Cleans up the list. Yeah. Helps the GPA a little bit.
You have Jets below Giants.
Yep, right below the Giants, I think, in my opinion.
Dontea, where would you have the Jets?
Put them right there.
Then we got, I assume, another one that's going to join the only 2 at the top. We got the Lions with Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Jameson Williams.
I'm putting them right behind Tyreek and Waddle.
Ooh.
I kind of want to put them above, but
I'm good with putting them above, but not S tier.
So they're not quite S. Jameson Williams is nice.
He's nice. Definitely.
I don't think they're S tier.
I think that there are. Actually, Dontea, there's a team coming up. It won't be too long before we're talking about them. They got a new acquisition at wide receiver that I wouldn't mind them being top of A and the Lions being bottom of S.
Well, it depends. We'll see when we get there. I don't know. I'm
for right now.
Biased.
We'll put them where
I am. When it comes to Tyreek, bro, like 2 1,700-yard seasons.
Okay.
Like I'm sure if you look at the receivers who have done that, it's probably Jerry Rice, Marvin Harrison, Terrell Owens, Randy, Calvin Johnson.
Compared this way, Amon-Ra or Tyreek Hill, you're probably taking Tyreek. Is it that big of a difference as of right now? I don't think so, but you're taking Tyreek. Jameson Williams, Jalen Waddle. I think Edge and Jameson Williams, but does that, since Tyreek's better, does that like kind of cancel out and they're pretty close to one another to where it doesn't really matter who's above you?
You're asking pretty much, is the gap wider between Tyreek and Amon-Ra, or is it wider between Waddle and Jameson?
Mm-hmm. So Tyreek Hill actually doesn't have 2 1,700. He has 2 1,600 plus. I guess he was close. I Googled.
Well, I seen 1,701 and 1,799.
Let me look it up to make sure.
That was on Pro Football Reference.
Let me research that to be sure. But when I Googled how many players have had 1,700 yards or more in more than one season, Okay, so Google AI was wrong. 1710 and 1799. So yeah, he is. It looks like the only player to ever do that because 1,600 yards in more than one season. You have Calvin Johnson, Antonio Brown, Julio, Tyreek, Justin Jefferson, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss.
So, like, look at the company. Like, Tyreek, like, I know last year was a down year, but literally you rewind back 1 year and then 1 year.
I will say, I thought the Lions were S tier because they had 2,000-yard receivers, both with a decent amount of touchdowns, and it had a really good... Like, Jameson Williams had 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, and averaged 17.3 yards per catch. That's tough. And we know what Amon-Ra is, obviously.
All right, you convinced me. Put them above Miami. You're splitting hairs with those two.
When I saw Lions, I thought S tier, but you guys decide that one. You think a top of A or below?
I like them
Dolphin.
top of A for right now,
Put them at the top A.
with
I'm comfortable with that.
potential to move.
Next, I was high on this wide receiver group as a whole, that they have many decent guys over there. They drop a lot of balls. We got the Green Bay Packers and Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs. D.
They got a bunch of
Maybe
number
F.
2s and 3s receivers.
Maybe F.
You're tripping.
What? They sold, bro. They sold a lot.
I mean, I watched Tyreek Hill sell in the Super Bowl. That don't mean nothing.
I mean, they didn't.
Yeah,
neither
one game.
neither of their receivers had 1,000-yard year last year.
Bro, there would be games. Obviously, my brother's a Packers fan, so I'd know a little more about it. There would be games to where, if you guys even have him in fantasy, you would know. Jaden Reed, 3 catches, 117 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Next game, zeros.
12 yards.
Same thing with Romeo Doubs. Maybe 1 catch, 9 yards. Next game, 3 catches, 90 yards.
I do remember the world betting on Jaden Reed's for 40 yards, and he had 0. And I just remember being on Twitter and everybody being like, "Is he playing?"
Yeah.
He was out there for cardio.
All right, so we think they're at the top of D.
I'm cool with them going D tier. I wouldn't say F. I don't know if they're F.
So you think they're at the top?
D?
You think they're better than Thomas and Davis? Better than Judy Tillman?
I don't think they're better than Thomas and Davis.
Sutton
And
and
I'm
Mims?
taking Judy and Tillman because I think Judy's just that much better.
What about Sutton and Mims?
I'm taking Sutton and Mims, to be honest, over there.
Shakir Coleman.
That one's a little closer because we have yet to kind of see who they can really be as number ones.
I don't like the disrespect
so-
you guys are giving Shakir and Coleman in this
So they're
video.
at
I think that they are solid. They're getting a
Jordan
lot of
has
disrespect.
Shakir in fantasy, bro. Listen, you can always tell when a dude has somebody in
Nah,
fantasy.
I didn't have either of them.
You
I had
have
both these
Shakir
Packers
in
wide
fantasy.
receivers in fantasy. I had both these Packers wide receivers in fantasy.
Didn't you have Shakir in fantasy?
No,
Yeah, you did.
I don't remember my team last year. I don't
You
fucking know.
did, you bitch. Yes, you did.
I mean, I'll say the same thing with the Bills. Neither of those guys had 1,000 yards receiving either. You know what I mean? So you can,
think-
the same way we said it about the.
All right, here's how
Packers,
it's
they
going to
didn't have
go.
either.
Packers, both of those receivers have more receiving yards last season than either of the Bills receivers, so put them above them.
Deal.
Yeah.
That's where I have him at.
Sure. That's where I said it got tricky.
another entry in the F tier. Introducing the Carolina Panthers.
Come on,
Even
bro.
if Deontay
Xavier
Johnson was
Leggett
there.
and Adam Thielen. Come on, they're
Oh,
S.
Introducing
You
the
said
country
S
boy
weird.
himself. F. I spell South with an F. An F stands
No.
for fuck y'all.
Now, who
Spell
you take?
South with an S too.
I might take the Cardinals just off of Marvin's potential. That's
I'm putting the
probably
Cardinals
no
above
game.
them.
Yeah.
I'm putting the Cardinals above them.
I agree.
Thielen is like 34, bro.
Can we
Yeah,
rank? Can we
Thielen
rank
is
NFL receivers based on their accents?
Yeah, Xavier Leggett is 1.
S tier, number 1 S tier.
And then Devontae Smith is 2. You remember when he said, that man said fuego.
All right.
He said fuego. I like that word.
Next team, it's going to be a little lower on the list, I think, too, because guess what? Injuries matter, in my opinion. We got the Patriots, Stephon Diggs and Demario Douglas. The worst wide receiver core in the NFL last year was the Patriots.
So, listen,
I think
part of
they're
me wants
still
to-
F tier. Dante has
I was-
an unruly love for Demario Davis.
He was on my fantasy team.
That's why. See this dude just. That's why.
Hey, you can always tell when a cat likes somebody random as hell. You're like, was he on your fantasy team? You either won bets with that dude or he was on your fantasy team. No in between.
Oh, I said Demario Davis. I meant Douglas.
I knew what you
Mario
meant.
Davis is a
Um,
linebacker.
I think
Yeah.
they go in F, but I think they go at the top of F.
I don't
Yeah.
mind it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Stephon Diggs is going to be a
Don't mind
1,000-yard receiver next year.
I'm okay with
Maybe. He might do the Odell and just not
Old.
do shit.
that. ACL, We're talking the Chris Godwin situation, but worse here.
ACL.
Hey, we got another F coming in hot at us.
Sheesh.
Whoa.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Jacoby Myers is better than Deontay Johnson. Hey, listen. This was a take that Derrick was trolling with, but after he did some extensive research, he bought in and he believed it. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you. He turned me into a believer a year ago. I do believe Jacoby Myers is and was better than Deontay Johnson the entire time. And I do think they're still an F tier, though.
Maybe not the whole time, but definitely now.
All right, Jacoby Myers was the 1,000-yard receiver. All right, give him some credit.
Just like Jordan said, bro, 1,000 yards ain't nothing, bro.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
It's really not.
They'll go second in the list in F tier. I think behind the
Obviously, a lot of their stats are going to be taken away because Devontae was there for half the season as well. So take that into some account.
Now, if it was Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, they might be like in B tier.
Yeah,
they might be middle of the pack.
Bro, Brock Bowers is crazy.
So where'd you put the Raiders?
Third in F tier.
So behind the Cardinals.
I got them behind the Cardinals and behind the Patriots.
Right. I'm cool with that. Whatever.
Jacoby, no. Trey Tucker's nice also.
He tore our mouth out, but we suck. Don't remember that one game that he had versus us. The Browns always do that every year where they make one random receiver look like Randy Moss. He tore us up. It is what it is.
I will say, next year if they go with those two, obviously they're going to be better, but I don't know if they're the second worst duo in the league.
Bad quarterback play. Put them on the Chiefs and they'll be balling out.
To another one, and this is why you can't always take stats into account because both these guys were quote-unquote number one receivers majority of the time last year. You got the Rams with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams.
This is an A at least.
And here's the team that after I forgot about the Lions when I was doing this in my head, I don't know how I forgot about them. I might put the Lions above them. So I'd almost be willing to put the Rams at the top of A and the Lions at the bottom of S.
I'm going to keep it real with you, bro. I think Puka and Amon-Ra are grossly close. Puka is crazy, bro.
I'd take Rams.
Like, I'm going to be honest with you, bro.
Yeah, but you're a Packers, like, wannabe fan. Like, you homeboy, like, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae. Bro, you love Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard sucks. Allen Lazard sucks.
I love Allen Lazard.
Aaron Rodgers is your dude, bro. Yeah, you love everybody. Eddie Lacy is still a top 10 running back in your mind.
Bro. James Starks is actually, shout out, real Packers ball knowers.
See?
Or BJ Raj.
There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. More of that fake Packers fan shit.
Clinton Diggs. Anyways, Puka had 990 yards in 11 games.
I'm taking them
like that. He is like that, bro. He had more yards than Jameson Williams in 11 games. 6 more games if you do that average. He has more yards than Amon-Ra. I'm going to keep it real with you, bro. Even though Devontae's older, not old, call me crazy, bro. Give me the Rams wide receiver duo over the Lions. Call me crazy.
Derrick loves this cat, Devontae, bro.
He's
like sometimes when Derrick talks about like the Packers, like any player that ever used to be on the Packers, my skin like crawls.
Hey, Rashad Bateman looked like John Jones.
Do you not like talking about the Packers because they whooped your ass in the Super Bowl? Like, what's your issue with the Packers?
No, has nothing to do with that. It's just the amount of glazing you give any player that was ever with Aaron Rodgers because that's your boy. What are you gonna do when he goes? What are you gonna do when Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers? You have to root for him.
Be a Steelers fan.
Yeah, you have to root for him.
Shut the fuck up now.
Listen, what has Devontae Adams done to not be glazed, brother?
Shut the fuck up.
He's been good, but he's
what?
Getting old.
You talk about the 1,000 yards every year.
He's getting old.
Listen, you talked about the Mike Evans 1,000 yards every year thing too. Devontae Adams, I'm taking more.
Hey guys, let's keep it moving. Top of A or what?
Oh, bitch. Sorry. I'm going above Lions.
Put them above the Lions.
I think they're above bro. Puka is crazy.
All right, put them above the Lions.
He is, bro. He's crazy.
I don't think Jameson Williams is better than any of those two.
Puka is definitely crazy.
He's literally my favorite receiver in the league. Literally. Like, dude's an animal.
I think Jameson Williams is far away from those two. I think that's the big difference there.
I agree.
Give him Matt Stafford.
Next up, Zay Flowers and John Jones.
John Jones.
Does Rashad Bateman look like John Jones in that picture, or is it just me?
Maybe. And listen, I will say Rashad Bateman did play good this year, too.
So what? I'm not looking at numbers.
D minus.
He played good.
Hey, hold on. Zay Flowers is nice.
I'm
He was
taking
also
them
on my.
over.
He was also on my fantasy team.
Is Zay Flowers that nice?
Zay Flowers.
Zay
is
Flowers.
nice. You remember when I told you he's better than George Pickens?
Yeah, when you lied through that gap.
How long have we been recording? This is
You
a
lied.
40-minute video.
You lied to yourself.
I think they're above McConkey and Johnston.
Yeah, I'm taking Zay and Bateman over those two.
But I think they might be behind Moore and Adunze, though.
I think it's close, but yeah.
Wait, do we have Wilson and Lazard above Moore and Adunze?
Yeah.
Switch those two.
Yeah. It needs to be actually the Jets need to be behind the Giants, which it got moved somehow because that's originally what it was supposed to do. You think Moore and Adunze is better than Wilson and Lazard?
Yeah, I do.
Dontea or Jordan? You guys look the same.
They look like Ashton Genty.
I think
Is it
they're
just a
close.
quick-
I think they're close. I'm not big on Romadunze yet, so I think they're close. Yeah, I'm okay with putting them above or below them, but touching them, they have to be close. Like,
Give me above. Now you have to choose below or above.
I just threw up in my mouth.
give me a tie.
All right, they stay above. We cool with putting the Ravens above the Chargers here in C tier.
Yeah, I think
I
Zay
think,
Flowers is better than McConkey, and I think Bateman is better than Johnston.
I do not think Zay Flowers is better than Ladd McConkey.
Oh, I do.
I
I
think Flowers is
I
better
do
than
not,
McConkey.
but I think that Bateman is better than Johnson.
I just think Justin Herbert is a better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson.
Oh, even after last season,
Yeah, thrower of the football? Absolutely.
Lamar was diming that bitch last year.
He was, but Herbo is literally one of the best thrower of the footballs in the NFL.
Thrower of the footballs.
You got to
He's like-
specify that,
He's
bro.
like younger Aaron Rodgers.
You got to
Jesus Christ. Bro, hey, go like this and just pull it out.
Hey,
All right.
listen, when
Come-
he signs with your team, you're
come up-
hyping him up.
Come up for air, bro. Come up for air.
Wipe your chin. Next up,
Shit.
Olave and Cooks.
He's the greatest
F.
quarterback of all time.
F minus. No, he's not. Stop it. Oh my God.
What?
F minus.
Greatest skill-wise quarterback of all time.
No, Patrick Mahomes is better than Aaron Rodgers. Anyways,
Rodgers.
Lamar Jackson has better skills at the quarterback position than Aaron Rodgers.
passing the ball now.
Overall quarterback skills, he's better than him.
Derrick's like, he can't even read a defense. He goes, you're racist. Olave and Cooks. Are we going
F
the top of
minus.
D?
F
I mean, the
minus.
top of F? The top of F?
F minus. Negative
You're
sign.
taking Shakir Coleman over Olave and
Yes.
Cooks?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think so.
Yes.
I think
Olave
Olave's
is good,
better.
though.
Olave's
good.
Olave's. We'll see how he comes
You got to
back.
think concussion, hurt. He was
This
hurt a
cat's
lot
about to
last
be.
year.
This cat's
No,
about to be
no.
Tua at wide receiver. The Dolphins better trade for him.
I'm taking Olave and Cooks over Shakir and Coleman. I am.
I'm not.
Thank you.
I
I
am.
would.
Overruled. Next
I
up.
think Olave is just worth more. Okay. All right. I guess we're moving
Yep.
that quick.
Nope, we're going. There. Next up, a very new duo to Seattle with their new 4,000-yard passing quarterback that I wish the Browns had.
I
JSN
didn't
and Cooper Kupp.
feel comfortable typing his last name, so I just put JSN.
Jackson Smith and Nick.
Couple
This
little
is a good
order,
one.
too.
This is a good
This
one.
is you go many ways, I think, here.
I am comfortably putting them above Ayuk and Jennings.
So they'd be B tier.
Yep. They're
You-
somewhere in the realm of Worthy, Rice, Evans, Godwin. JSN had a great year last year.
Oh yeah.
He
I
showed
know,
he was
yeah.
the number one. And I think Cooper Kupp still has something left in the tank, too.
Battled injuries as well.
Yep.
You're taking London and Mooney over JSN and Cup.
Jordan, would you go?
Player
Oh, no.
player wise, that looks wild, right? If you say it like I'm taking Drake London and Darnell Mooney over Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Cup. That just sounds a little wild to me.
I'm not.
I
But
have to say no just because that sounds crazy.
I'm not.
That's what I'm saying,
I'm
it
not taking
sounds
them
wild.
over JSN and Cooper Kupp.
Right. I'm with, okay, they're at the top of B. Top of B.
McLaurin, Tebow Samuel. I think JSN might be better than Scary Terry, brother.
Hold on.
I'm still.
on.
I
I'm
think
still.
Derek. Hold
Nah,
on.
I'm
Derek
still
is on
putting.
something here.
I'm still putting Scary Terry and Debo over him.
Is Scary Terry better than JSN?
I think so.
Oh.
I think so. And I think Cooper Kupp and Debo Samuel, even though Debo does add a lot of value in being a Swiss Army knife, I think at wide receiver they're very comparable.
I think Cooper Kupp is way better than Debo. My opinion, I guess, Swiss Army knife. I
Well,
guess that matters.
Cooper
somewhat.
Cooper Kupp was also hurt last year. I got to remember that.
Yeah.
I think that Cooper Kupp at just pure wide receiver, just running routes and catching the ball is way better than Debo. Debo adds a lot of value in everything he's able to do for the offense, though.
I like him an A above the Commanders behind the Dolphins.
Hey, Jackson Smith and Jigba almost have more yards in his 2 seasons, like one season total, than Terry McLaurin has had in his whole career so far. Terry McLaurin had 1190. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 1130 in 2 seasons, as opposed to his 6 seasons.
Say
Yeah.
that again? Am I high? What?
No, JSN's only
Oh.
played 2 years, and he's already gotten 1130. Terry McLaurin's played, 7 years? And his highest
6
was 6 years, and his highest was 1190. So he's saying with
Oh, I see.
less time, he's
Okay,
achieved almost as much, which I do agree with to an extent.
Terrible quarterback.
Terry McLaurin also hasn't had great quarterback play a lot of his career.
Geno Smith got wrote off. He just didn't write back.
Exactly. He didn't write back.
Like I said, terrible quarterback.
And
They had
he
Geno.
wasn't afraid to air it out.
So where they
Plus-
Geno was a dog woman.
Plus, if we're going to go back to the whole 49ers theory, you had to worry about DK and Tyler Lockett as well with JSN.
I don't know about Lockett thing. The Lockett thing kind of died off a little bit.
Tyler Lockett is still a very serviceable receiver.
You got to sign somewhere first to be serviceable.
he
I
could be with the Browns next year.
hope not, because I think he still has
So,
some left. Not as much.
We're
as
gonna
Cooper
put
Kupp,
them. We're gonna put them behind McLaurin and Samuel. Then
I say above, but
but I
Jordan wants them behind.
I like them below, so it's your vote.
I think they're better. I would, if I'm choosing, I'm taking those two over Commanders too.
I'm gonna put them behind only because of one thing: new quarterback. That's the only reason why.
Sam
It's their
Darnold.
first year with
Sam Darnold might be out
Sam
there
Darnold.
seeing ghosts in Seattle. We don't know.
It's just because it's a new quarterback, a new offense, new coordinator, new coach for a new quarterback. Jaden Daniels is
So
at
he-
least going to be with the
Quarterbacks aren't a
same.
thing at all. Like you're just looking at receivers. You're still taking them over.
You have Josh Allen. Who are you putting with him?
Yeah, I'm putting Jason and Cup.
If I got
Like
Josh,
you, don't try to.
a
think
read
what they're gonna
option
do.
with Debo and Josh Allen would be crazy.
Like let's hypothetically, let's say
And James
Jamar
Cook, a
Chase and
triple
T. Higgins
option.
was on. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins was on the Titans, and Will Levis was even worse than what he was. They would still be S tier, but
I'm
the
gonna take
production's not going to be S tier. You know what I mean?
I'm going to take McLaurin and Samuel only because of youth, just because they're younger. That's it.
I think if you combine the ages, it's probably pretty close.
It is
Yeah, but
probably
Cooper Kupp-
close.
Yeah, it is.
It's-
close.
It might be younger. The Seahawks might be younger, to be honest, because of JSN. All right,
How old is
we'll leave him
Cooper Kupp
behind. 31 is my guess.
Yeah, he is only 31, huh?
And McLaurin's might be older. It's scary
McLaurin's
to me, but-
29.
Oh, see, he's been in the league for a while. It seems like he's older.
Irrelevant.
Yeah,
Dang, Debo's
Cool.
28. All right, give me Seattle over them.
Seattle's younger then, if you're looking at that.
All right, I'm taking Seattle over Debo. Over Debo and McLaurin.
All right, either way, if you're watching, Dante doesn't even know. He's just flipping a coin basically right now, just based off age.
Next up, the newest, hottest duo. Thug
or
Nif-
Jordy.
2 thugs. You go look up and get stole on, no matter which way it is. 2 dudes who might end up in jail. DK Metcalf and George Thuggery Pickens.
Agree.
So a little bit of bias here, I guess, but with trying to put that to the side, I think there are 3 teams for sure better than them as a duo. Outside of those 3, I could see them being the bottom of the S tier. Once we get to the last team, there we already have the Bengals and the Eagles in S tier. I think there's one more team that'll go S tier above the Steelers, but I think the Steelers might be bottom of S.
I don't know if they're. My opinion, I don't think they're S tier. I'm taking Naku and Adams over those 2. Just for the reason being, those guys on the Steelers were both number 1 options last year. Had quote unquote down years, both of them. Both didn't have 1,000 yards. Do I still think they're great? Yeah. I
DK
just
didn't
don't
get
know.
1,000 yards last year?
No, they were both shy by like very little amount.
Yeah, but they still didn't get it.
DK was 8 yards off. George Pickens was 100. He had 900 on the dot. DK had 992.
That's
Both
crazy.
are
I really
number
thought Russ was going to unlock George Pickens.
So did
Um,
everybody else, but Arthur Smith didn't allow him to. I think
Yeah,
Puka's better than
I'm
both of them,
comfortable.
but I think they're both right around Devontae.
I think I'm comfortable with Puka and Adams being right before Metcalf and Pickens, but Metcalf and Pickens being above Amon-Ra and Jameson. I'm really biased against Puka. I don't know if it's the ponytail or what, but the dude's crazy. He's crazy. He's crazy.
That's where I would have him on our list. They're the fourth best duo at the moment. Next team,
Until the next team comes up.
not this one.
Yeah, not this one.
I know.
And it does say Nico Collins and Tank Dell, but
That is
when I made the
incorrect.
graphic, I wasn't thinking that Tank Dell was hurt. I was just completely forgot about it. So their number 2 would be
John Mechie.
Hey, shout out to him, bro. He beat cancer.
Yeah,
He did.
shout out. That'd
So
be
if it was
awesome.
Nico Collins and Tank Dell, would you guys have them above Lamb and Tolbert?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I would go right above Evans and Godwin if it was Tank Dell.
Yeah, but it's
And-
not now.
I'm just saying, I'm gauging.
If it was Tank Dell,
I'd
I
say
think
Evans.
they'd be right around Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, whether it was above, below.
I would take them
I think
above.
I'd be below,
I think
but
Nico Collins is a new and improved Mike Evans. I think he's just a young Mike Evans.
I think you could argue them above the Falcons. I think some people definitely would take them over.
I
the
would take
Falcons
Nico
with
Collins
202.
above Drake London.
are we fried on the Falcons being so high, bro? I feel weird every time we talk about the Falcons being where they are.
It's the names. It's because they're not big names. Darnell Mooney.
Darnell, Mr. Drop the Hail Mary Mooney.
Collins isn't better than Lamb. Collins isn't better than Neighbors or Garrett Wilson.
I think Nico
DJ
Collins
Moore's
is,
your top.
I think Nico Collins is very close to Garrett Wilson.
Listen, when he said he isn't better than
He
Wilson,
drafted
that's what made me
He
go like
loves,
that.
he loves Collins. He probably had him in his fantasy team.
I did not have him on my fantasy team, but I did draft him in my current NFL team. A lot of people appreciated that pick.
So where would you guys have? You would have him in that around that C spot somewhere.
I would have them.
I'm having them over Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard.
I'm having them over Flowers and Bateman. Nico Collins is better than Zay Flowers.
By how much? I think the gap between Bateman and Mechie's way bigger.
I'm putting them above the Jets.
My
So you
C
want
tier
Jeff behind
is
Barrett.
Lamb, Tolbert, Neighbors, Robinson, Moore, Dunze. Isn't that yours or no?
Well, you wanted Jets behind Bears. I said Jets above Bears, and then Jordan said tie. So they stayed above the Bears.
Well, now they're like 3 people back. Because aren't they behind Flowers and Bateman and Collins and Mechie now?
Yeah, Dante's right. If we're putting these guys above the Jets, then below the Bears.
The Bears are definitely third in C tier. Lamb, Tolbert, Neighbors, Robinson, Moore, Dunze.
So you want to move the Jets all the way behind the Texans and then right above the Chargers.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't make that decision. We got the Tennessee Titans F. All right, cool.
F minus, very bottom of the barrel.
We putting them, yeah, I think below. Yeah, you have to put them below.
Are they below Thielen and Leggett?
Yeah, because they're number 2. They don't have a number 2.
Hey, why is
They don't have
Titans at the very bottom? We have a Bengals above S and Titans below F.
the Titans.
The last
You're going
team,
to put them 2, you're going to put them 3.
they're going in S
The
tier.
Vikings.
I
Are
have
they
them
better than the Eagles or worse?
I have them above the Eagles.
I'll say before Dante goes, because I have opposite opinion, I put them below the Eagles. They didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yes,
They also didn't have Saquon.
won them the Super Bowl though.
Yeah, they also didn't have Saquon. Jordan Addison
Sam
had
Darnold
9
over,
touchdowns
Jalen
last year. Holy crap.
I like Jordan Addison over
No.
Devontae
No.
Smith. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Jordan Addison is not better than Devontae Smith. No.
I, personal preference, like him over Devontae Smith. He had more yards and more touchdowns than Devontae Smith last year.
Yeah, I will say Devontae Smith cheats on COD, so that might make Jordan Addison better.
Okay, first off, you said he had more yards and more touchdowns. Wait a minute. You left out the fact that he had like 40 more yards and one.
All right,
More
that's
yards, more
insane.
touchdowns. More
This
average
guy's
per
crazy.
reception. Less receptions too.
This cat is crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. The gap between Justin Jefferson and AJ Brown is wider than the gap between Addison, Devontae. I think Devontae is better than Addison now, personally. But I think the gap between those two is not very large. But I still think the gap between Jefferson and A.J. Brown is pretty big.
Vikings too. So our tier list as of right now, what do you think would need changed? Or do you think everything is perfecto? I don't personally think everything's perfecto, but we have arguments of where people should be, and you guys overruled me.
Let's throw Nakua and Adams into S.
Just to take away so many A's.
Essentially, yeah. Moving them into S, I don't think...
Whether be the fourth best.
Yeah. I don't think that is like a huge change. And then in C, I would move... Is Pittman the last one? Pittman and Pierce, those are the last ones in C tier? Put them in the top of D.
No, I do disagree with some of these.
I think there's some that all of us disagree.
Yeah, people in the comments are definitely disagreeing.
It's insane seeing Drake London and Darnell Mooney at the top of E. That just feels like, it feels not right to me. It might be right, but it feels not right.
They played...
Like, you ever did something that was like not a bad thing, but for some reason you felt guilty about it? That's how I feel with them being where they are.
I know people in the comments definitely disagree with some players. Probably your favorite team where we ranked your top 2 receivers.
Or your favorite fantasy wide receiver.
Or that, because Dontea loves Puka. Let us know down in the comments below your list, because we'll have the link in the description. And also let us know where we folded, where we don't know ball at, where we're obviously choking.
If I were to get a random NFL jersey, it would be Puka's.
All right, this dude's in love with...
Well, you fucking...
All right, Jordan.
Same thing with the Aaron Rodgers, bro. Pop it out.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank
that
you.
Just make
like,
you
gotta go. You gotta go at him if you go at me about fucking Aaron Rodgers.
Did you just do that? Or was that?
Yeah. Pop it out.
I thought I heard a...
Yeah.
Just don't make that cat bigger. You might bust a tooth bopping that thing out there.